Ever wondered how a tiny fraction of the global population seems to hold the reins of the world's economy? Sounds like the plot of a movie, but it's a question many of us have asked. How can just 1% of people have such a massive impact? It's not about secret societies or shadowy figures in a dark room. The reality is far more complex and, in many ways, more fascinating. Today, we're going to break it down, simplifying the intricate web of finance, influence, and power that shapes our world. We'll explore the key mechanisms they use, from controlling vast amounts of capital to shaping global policies. So, grab a seat, because you're about to get a crash course in how the global economic machine really works. First, let's talk about the most obvious tool: immense wealth. The top 1% doesn't just have more money. They own a disproportionate share of assets. What are assets? Think stocks, bonds, real estate, and ownership in major companies. This isn't just cash sitting in a bank account. This is wealth that works for them, generating more wealth through dividends, interest, and appreciation. Imagine owning a significant chunk of a company like Apple or Google. Every time that company succeeds, your wealth grows automatically. Now multiply that across hundreds of investments. This concentration of assets means they have a huge stake in the success of the global economy, but it also gives them incredible leverage. This leads us to the second point: control over capital. Capital is the lifeblood of our economy. Businesses need it to start, grow, and innovate. When a small group of people and institutions control the majority of this investment capital, they essentially become the gatekeepers of economic development. They decide which companies get funding, which new technologies are developed, and which industries thrive. Think about venture capital firms or private equity groups. These are organizations that pool massive amounts of money from wealthy investors and deploy it strategically. Their decisions can create entire industries or let others fade away. This power to allocate capital gives them a direct hand in steering the direction of the global economy. Now, how does this translate into real-world influence? This brings us to our third mechanism: a powerful network of influence. The world's economic elite don't operate in a vacuum. They attend the same universities, sit on the same corporate boards, and belong to the same exclusive clubs and organizations. Think of events like the World Economic Forum in Davos. This is where top CEOs, political leaders, and financiers gather to discuss global issues. These networks create powerful alliances and a shared understanding of how the world should work. When you have the world's most influential people in one room, the ideas and policies discussed there have a very high chance of becoming reality. It's not a formal conspiracy, but a powerful alignment of interests and perspectives that shapes global policy from the inside out. Let's move on to the fourth point: shaping public policy and regulation. With immense wealth comes the ability to influence politics. This happens in several ways. One is through lobbying. Large corporations and financial institutions spend billions of dollars every year to lobby governments. They hire professional lobbyists to advocate for policies that benefit their interests, like tax cuts, deregulation, or favorable trade agreements. These policies can have a massive impact on their bottom line. Another way is through campaign contributions. By funding the campaigns of political candidates, wealthy individuals and corporations can gain access and influence, ensuring that their voices are heard when important decisions are being made. This creates a cycle where economic power translates into political power, which in turn helps to protect and grow that economic power. The fifth key element is control over information and media. Think about who owns major news networks, newspapers, and social media platforms. Often, it's large corporations and incredibly wealthy individuals. This ownership can influence the information we receive every day. While journalists strive for objectivity, the overall editorial direction of a media outlet can reflect the interests of its owners. This can shape public opinion on crucial economic issues. For example, a media outlet owned by a corporation that benefits from deregulation might run more stories that portray regulation as harmful to the economy. This doesn't mean it's all fake news, but it does mean that certain perspectives get more airtime than others, which subtly shapes public discourse and makes certain policies seem more or less acceptable. Let's dive into the sixth mechanism: the role of international financial institutions. Organizations like the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank play a huge role in the global economy. They provide loans to countries in financial trouble, but these loans often come with strings attached. These conditions, known as structural adjustment programs, often require countries to adopt policies favored by the major economic powers, who are the largest funders of these institutions. These policies might include privatizing state-owned industries, cutting public spending, and opening up their markets to foreign investment, while the stated goal is to promote economic stability. Critics argue that these policies often benefit multinational corporations and international financiers at the expense of the local population. The seventh point is the power of financial innovation, and sometimes financialization. The financial world is constantly creating new and complex products, like derivatives, credit default swaps, and securitized debt. These instruments can be incredibly profitable for those who understand and trade them. However, they can also introduce significant risks into the system, as we saw during the 2008 financial crisis. The top 1% are not only the primary beneficiaries of these innovations, but their institutions are the ones creating them. This deep involvement in the mechanics of finance gives them an edge. Increasing financialization of the economy means that making money from money through complex financial activities has become more important than making actual products. This shift further concentrates wealth in the hands of those who control the financial sector. So, let's recap what we've discussed. The influence of the top 1% isn't about a single secret lever they pull. It is a system built on several interconnected pillars: the massive concentration of asset ownership, the control over the flow of capital, powerful networks of influence, the ability to shape public policy, control over information channels, influence over international financial institutions, and the dominance of the financial sector itself. Each of these elements reinforces the others, creating a powerful feedback loop that maintains and expands their influence over the global economy. Understanding this system is the first step. It's not about pointing fingers or assigning blame, but about recognizing the mechanics at play. It's important to remember that this isn't a static situation. The global economy is constantly evolving. Awareness is growing, and conversations about wealth inequality, corporate responsibility, and financial regulation are becoming more mainstream. New technologies like blockchain and decentralized finance are challenging traditional power structures. Movements advocating for social and economic justice are gaining momentum around the world. The future of the global economy is not set in stone. By understanding how it works today, we are better equipped to participate in the conversation about how it should work tomorrow. It's a complex topic with no easy answers, but continuing to learn and ask questions is crucial for all of us who have a stake in the global economy, and that means pretty much everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world economy. I hope this breakdown was clear and gave you a new perspective. If you found this video insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that demystifies the complex world around us. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What part of this system surprised you the most? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.